to work with.
We're getting too technical here.
All right, it's 10:05 a.m. on May the 4th, 2026. This is a special meeting of Gillespie County Commissioners Court. We're going to call the meeting to order. All members of the Commissioners Court are present this morning. Let's move to item number 2, which is approved job descriptions and or postings for positions in the county IT department. Who was that? We'll go back to it in just a minute. Who wants to present the IT request? Jordan, you want to post a job description? I don't know, I figured Lynn would be here, but I don't see her.
Yeah. Pretty sure it's just a reposting of the job description, just like it was before.
What position is it?
Tech.
Tech?
Yeah.
I move to approve the posting of the county IT technician position.
Second.
Lynn just showed up, by the way.
Morning, Lynn.
Good morning.
We're doing item number 2, the job description.
Okay.
Anything we need to know on that? We already have a motion in a second. This is the discussion, I guess.
Provided it's the IT technician, so.
We really didn't make any changes besides adding the starting rate. And then we did some formatting and updated that job description
And it's, what position?
for the technician.
Okay.
Or any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Any other comments?
They were not here when I.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move to item number 3, which is acknowledge the district court's approval of an agreed judgment in cause number 26-18606, Royal Pane Window Cleaning LLC versus Gillespie County, and authorize payment pursuant to said judgment. Okay, we have 5 individuals that have signed up to speak on this item. First one is Mr. Schneider.
Thank you. My name is Tom Schneider. We are residents of Gillespie County. I just have a large concern about, actually it ties into both all 3, 4, and 5. But on number 3, I'm wondering what is the amount of money that's in this agreed judgment which applies to court costs and legal fees?
The attorney's fees are $1,125.
$350.
$354.
$350 on the court costs.
$1,145 for legal fees, were there also court costs?
It was 1,125, and then the court costs were $350.
Oh. So it's 1,125 plus 300,
350.
350. Okay, my further understanding is that when this contract was approved, didn't follow the procedure of getting competitive bids. Is that correct understanding?
That's not my opinion, no.
Were there competitive bids?
We had multiple bids on it, yes.
If we had multiple bids, awarded a contract, why did the vendor have to go to court to get payment, authorized payment?
Commissioners Court authorized payment and approved it. We are not the ones that withheld the authorization of payment. You'd have to ask that office or that individual.
Okay, and the auditor speak to that, so we understand.
She's welcome to or not. That's up to her. I'm not going to compel her to say anything.
So when it was originally brought to court, there was only one proposal that was presented, and our purchasing policy requires 2 proposals. So at that point, our office tried to reach out to other light vendors to try to, get other bids to see if it was a competitive price. And at that point, we had got another bid that was, and part of the other issue too is that the scope of the work kept changing. And so to me, it's very hard to get accurate bids if your scope keeps changing. And so due to all that, we refused payment.
Okay, do you think that's a fair assessment that the scope was continuing to change? So we weren't getting like bids?
I will say that we received bids that had different specs, like on the type of light bulbs, these kind of technical things related to the installation project. So there was variance in the specs on some of the bids, yes.
Were the bids ever somewhat equalized? Were the proposals equalized so that everybody was bidding the same scope?
The first 2 bids were of the same scope, and one of the individuals that submitted his bid withdrew it during the Commissioners Court. Then, and we awarded it to Royal Paint at that time. Then approximately a month later, another bid came in. We reconsidered it, and it was not within scope, and we rejected that bid.
So it went to court because the county refused payment under the direction of the auditor's office. Is that what I'm
The
understanding?
auditor refused payment.
Yes. Every expenditure requires approval by the Commissioners Court and by the county auditor. And if one of those parties does not approve payment, then the payment will not be made. That's what happened in this case. And then the vendor filed suit.
Okay, and then just generally on 4 and 5, I assume we're doing whatever we need to do to keep the scopes the same and rejecting proposals that come in that are outside of the scope. Is that correct? Was that fair?
Yes, I mean, that's one of the reasons we have it on now, is that we have plenty of time to work through any issues and not be time compressed towards the end of the year. But we'll call those items, and I think you signed up to speak on those, so if you want to ask more or make more comments at that time, you could do that also.
Can I make one general comment?
Sure.
At the last Commissioners Court, you agreed that we need to present some sort of holistic view of the financial conditions of the county and create a roadmap to how we get things straightened out and fixed and running on a proper course. Have you given any thought to when that presentation can be made?
I'm trying to get it out as soon as possible. I don't know if I'll be able to get it at the next regular meeting because I have a conference this week. It will take most of this week, so, but I will try to do it sooner than later.
That will be published.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I think we will present it at a meeting and have discussion on it.
Thank you.
Mr. Strange?
The items that I was gonna talk about have already been reached through Tom's questioning, so I defer to that time.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Schneider, item number 3.
Good morning, everyone. I do have more questions regarding this. And I want to say thank you, Commissioner Weinheimer, for bringing this to my attention because I would have never looked at the Christmas decorations had you not mentioned what happened with the cattle guards. So the audience is aware that was also an illegal bid. Okay, this is a pattern that is happening. And I FOIA'd all of the documents from the cattle guard. Again, the vendor, the bid process was violated. The vendor was told it violated the process and the auditor rejected it. Rightfully so, because it didn't meet the criteria. Again, the public had to pay for the court costs and the attorney's fees, not only for the vendor, but anything associated with what the county had to pay for. And I believe that the county attorney is the one that handled that. So what time did that take away from other pertinent cases? In this particular situation, I have listened to some of the audio, and there was a great deal of discussion. There was a great deal of comment from the county auditor telling you you were not in compliance, and you all 5 voted to approve it anyway. Again, the auditor, and I'm gonna ask this question. Judge Jones, could you please walk us through what the role is of the county treasurer and county auditor and how it impacts the courts?
I'm not going to go through that right now. You're supposed to be making comments on item number 3, which is the royal
This
fame.
is item number 3, because the reason this vendor sued is because of the roles between the treasurer, the auditor, and the county commission. And the protocols were not followed, were they not? And again, let's ask the county auditor. Were the protocols followed?
No, ma'am, I did not believe so.
And did you have any discussion with any of these commissioners or the county attorney about what happened?
Yes,
Can you explain that?
I met with Judge Jones and also the county attorney regarding this issue and my concerns about not being compliant with local government code 262.0245. And I said that I would not be able to approve it because in the beginning, there were no bids approved at all. And as it escalated, then the scope was changing and then a bid was received, which we requested. Because we were trying to determine if it was a fair price. Because that's the goal, is to have a competitive price where the taxpayers aren't being overcharged. And so we were trying to get bids to see if it was a fair price, because I am not in the light business. I have no idea if that was a reasonable price for the product. And so our office reached out to several vendors trying to get quotes on that. And the whole thing was just a big old mess.
And what did the county attorney tell you?
She said that we were within our right of, we were doing our job essentially.
And so you had legal grounds to reject the purchase or the payment of this invoice.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is why the vendor had to sue. And that is the same situation that occurred with the cattle guards, is that correct?
Yes, but that one also had related party implications.
Right. Okay. So again, and I'm gonna say this agenda packet, Judge Jones and Ms. Brown, does not have any attachments to it whatsoever. So your plan, you just approved a job description and posting for the IT position, but that's not in the agenda packet. There is no attachments in the agenda package. This court is operating in secrecy again. How many times do we have to bring this out? The whole role is to have transparency. The job description is not posted. The plans for the Christmas decorations are not posted. The concept is not posted. You all have no discussion. It's an up or down vote, and you all vote together. the question could be made, is this violating the Open Meeting Act? You have no discussion. You are not transparent in anything you are doing. And that includes the treasurer's office. I mean, Judge Jones, we've asked you for months and months and months to put that on the agenda, and you've refused to do it. No, you've ignored us. You haven't refused it. You've ignored us. We've asked you to discuss the Ampere litigation. There's nothing. It's not even posted on the county's website, but you filed a lawsuit. I've had 2 outside attorneys review that and said this is junk. There is no teeth to this thing. Why did they file? They already had a stop work order in place.
Schneider, you're getting off of the agenda item, which is
I
number.
am getting off the agenda item, but you are in violation of not fulfilling the local government code by complying with the documents that need to be attached. Even the past minutes are not up there. And Lindsay, you can roll your eyes.
I'm working on it.
That doesn't work, okay? Working on it, you didn't have anything posted before, any meeting minutes at all, until I harped about it.
No, I've.
And now you're getting part of them, but you're not putting the agenda items on there, the packets. You're not putting that in there. There are many documents. There's no contracts, nothing. That is operating in secrecy. And that violates the local government code. This is what we are asking. We are asking you to follow the law. That's all we're asking. And be transparent. That's not happening. Thank you.
I disagree with your comments that we're violating the Texas Local Government Code. Your comment's over, Ms. Schneider. Your comment, you signed up for other items, you'll come back, but you're not even sticking on the agenda item when you're making your comments. You're just going off.
And you're ignoring everyone's
I'm not-
comments in this court. You're refusing.
How am I ignoring them?
items.
I'm sitting right here listening to you, and I just responded that you're making blanket speculation, accusations,
Speculation?
that there's
Judge
violation.
Jones, you're sitting there with a computer in front of you. How about opening the county's website and seeing what is not posted on there?
I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is you're alleging there's violations of the Texas Local Government Code, and that's not true.
It is. It says it should be posted on the
I
county's
told you that I
website.
don't agree with that.
We don't have any of the treasurer's
Mr. Knightsky,
reports since
Mr. Knightsky, you're-
2023
Mr. Knightsky, your time
posted
is
on
up.
the website. That is in violation of the local government code.
Mr. Knightsky, you want to make your comment for item number 3?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm Bruce Langsky, resident of Gillespie County Precinct 2. And yes, so following on the, just the transparency, and I would call it getting back to regular order of the Commissioners Court regarding all of the items. So I am asking, when are you going to when will the treasurer exhibit the books and accounts for inspection of the court? Do you plan to do that this month?
This is for item number 3 related to the agreed
Yes,
judgment.
yes,
So I'm-
yeah, following on because things are kind of getting off track. I think that's the general issue, is that they submitted a bid, it was off track, and then you had to go through a lawsuit, okay? So there's a general pattern of being off track. And so I'm asking under section 114.026 of the Texas Local Government Code, at least once a month at a regular term of the Commissioners Court, the county treasurer shall exhibit the books and accounts of the treasurer's office for the inspection of the court, and shall submit the vouchers relating to the books and accounts for audit and approval. Now, as far as I can tell, that has not been done for some time, maybe as long as 10 years. And my contention is that things like this, the treasurer's office and the lawsuit, are following on because we're not following regular order. So again, could I ask you, do you plan to exhibit the books this month?
That would be a treasurer obligation, and I will ask her if she will exhibit the books in your regard. I mean, we get departmental reports monthly. I'm not sure in what scope you're asking about.
Well, I'm just asking inside the scope of the law. And it just says that at least once a month at a regular term, the county treasurer shall exhibit the books and accounts. And we've never seen that.
Okay.
And so again, it's just in the interest of getting us all back on track.
Let county clerk would like to respond to
So I
that. please.
did find all the reports from the last meeting we talked about it, and I have given them to the treasurer's office,
Okay,
and they are the monthly reports from 24 and 25.
okay, now you're talking about the ones that are filed under 114.061. Those are the claims filed to the county clerk.
Yes, they file the report, but it's their monthly report.
Right, and that's the one that you enter into a heading of registered indebtedness of the county. Is that correct?
I don't know. I scanned it as part of the agenda item, but
Okay, like, okay,
they're
so,
gonna post it, so it matches what's on their website, so they're working on that now. I've given them to them to post.
okay, so just so we're all following along here, okay? So the treasurer's monthly claims that they submit to the county clerk are submitted under 114.061, and then you enter that into a finance ledger under the heading of registered indebtedness of the county. But you're saying you don't have that,
It's part of, they file a monthly report,
okay?
and that's what I have.
Because
Anything
I-
else, I don't have any deal with that stuff.
I think we're talking apples and oranges. I think the ones that go to you are different than the books that are supposed to be
I was just
presented in
speaking to
front
the
of the
ones
court.
you asked about before the monthly reports, the last meeting, so I got all of those to the treasurer. They're gonna post them on the website.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's just,
again, so just to set, square up, I think this connects with what Tom was saying. We need to have a presentation, an overall presentation, so we can get back to regular order. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Nice. Yeah, I added that item to my list to discuss with the treasurer about the public report that Mr. Schneider asked about. Mr. Neitzke, I'm going to add that to my discussion with the treasurer as I'm working through the presentation that Mr. Schneider asked. So we'll clarify that and get that squared away as part of that process. All right. Teresa Wyrick.
My name is Teresa Bailey Wyrick, and I'm a resident of Gillespie County. I'm going to throw out what I wrote because some of the testimonies answered the questions that I had. But I do have a few more that I hope you will entertain. Who within the county is responsible for procurement of vendor management? Does each commissioner have that obligation for their respective area that they represent, or is there a vendor procurement group?
We don't have a purchasing department. We sort of have a hybrid that involves the departments that are trying to procure the item, and they coordinate with personnel in the auditor's office per our purchasing policy. So there's not an individual person or an individual department that handles that alone. It's sort of a team effort for most things.
And how often on an annual year, I mean, we're looking at 3 invoices here that are on the agenda. We know we had the cattle guard that didn't follow policy in a previous year. We had the Christmas lights, which is not, well, Christmas lights from before, we have Christmas lights now. Is this a systemic problem that continues to occur that would suggest we need stronger processes and protocols and training? Or are these just exceptions to the rule?
I would say these are exceptions to the rule. However, I'm still advocating for creation of a purchasing agent, which is a position, a statutory position that would handle procurement on behalf of the county. It's an individual that's appointed by the county judge and the district judge to sort of to compartmentalize our purchasing into one individual or one office in hopes of sort of eliminating this, this type of issue. But I mean, again, I want to say that the Christmas light approval is a difference of opinion between the Commissioners Court and the county auditor.
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna, there's been assumptions made that one of those parties is correct and one is not. And I think that there's some dispute there. And so that's how we arrived at this particular issue.
were the two bids for the Christmas lights obtained at the same time and opened according to what would be typical protocol, at least in my construction background? You usually have sealed bids, they're open, they're analyzed, they're signed off on. Were they basically acquired at the same time, or was the second bid came in subsequent to the first bid when you realized you needed a second bid?
So this was not a sealed bid process because it was below the statutory threshold. So this was an informal procurement per our policy, which means you have to, you're supposed to try to procure vendor bids informally. And so, but to answer to your question, one was brought first, a second one was brought at a later meeting, and then even a third one was brought at a later meeting after that.
My concern as a citizen is when I look at these types of issues that come up repeatedly, is that it is a red flag. And I've worked, my background is big banks like JP Morgan Chase, Capital One, Key Bank, and we were always in a state of audit, either internally or externally. And a well-run business meant procurement was well-run, cash management was well-run, our internal auditors were well-run, and I'm seeing a lot of red flags where we are not a well-run business in this county. And I'm not assigning blame, but what I am asking is that we have a forensic audit and transparency on everything, including our procurement, so that we can mitigate these risks. Certainly the excessive cost for legal fees, for court fees, making sure that we are known in the community as being a fair and well-run organization, and that that it's transparent and presented to the community, because we deeply want every one of you to be successful in this room. And we want this county to be a beacon for other counties and how they should operate their business. And so I pray, and I am asking that you guys consider that, not only on this issue, but all issues going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I believe that's everyone that signed up to make a public comment on that particular item. Did anyone sign up for that item that I did not call?
I did not sign up. Would it be okay if I made a comment?
Why don't you hold off right now? Let's see if there's any questions related to the item itself. All right, item number 3, we're considering acknowledging the agreed judgment that was entered by the district court in this matter. The judgment authorizes or orders payment to Royal Payne in the amount of $30,070. Plus attorney's fees in the amount of $1,125 and costs of court, which are not set forth with specificity in the order, but are in the amount of $350. And we need to consider making authorizing payment pursuant to that judgment, or that.
Well, I move we approve the payment to the agreed judgment cause number 2618606 Royal Payne Windows Cleaning LLC versus Gillespie County.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the payment pursuant to the agreed judgment. You probably need to set out the funding sources for the payment.
You want that under a separate motion or together?
I think you can make it part of your regular, if you want to amend your motion.
Well, I'll amend the motion to include the payment of the $30,070 to Royal Payne from the hot funds, but I'm not certain which funds would cover the court fees. So I'd look for guidance from that, Judge.
Contingency.
I move to include that the contingency funds used to be paid for the $1,125 court fees.
That's the,
I'm sorry, the attorney fees.
and 350 court.
Yeah, I don't see that in this judgment. You see it in there?
It just says cost of court, but I think that was verified with the district clerk's office to be $350 for the total cost.
It's not in the judgment though, is it?
It says cost of court. It doesn't specify the amount because that's calculated outside the court.
I'll include the cost of court fees of $350 will also be paid out of the contingency.
I'll amend my second.
All right, we have a motion, an amended motion and amended second. Any other discussion?
Oh, I want to make some more comments real quick.
Okay.
As the judge mentioned, there was a difference of opinion. We had the original bid come to the court for consideration without a second bid. We were told they had a difficult time finding a second bid. We did not approve it in that session. We came back, the auditor's office came back with another bid, so I'm not sure where this change in the scope is. That bid was received in the court along with the roll paying bid. And during that court session, that vendor withdrew his bid during the court. So we ended up 2 bids to start with, 1 bid remaining. We awarded that bid at that time. There was again this additional concerns, and so a 3rd bid was brought before the court. That bid was not compliant and was rejected. So I believe the court followed the proper protocol with respect to getting bids.
May I ask a question? How many special sessions and meetings were these bids discussed? 5? 6?
I don't remember the exact number, but yes, we had several meetings.
And again, there is nothing on the county website to reflect any of the discussion, any of the bids, nothing.
All right, any other discussion?
Just get time to make additional comments for myself, that'd be okay?
I want to let vendor make a comment.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, sir.
I'm gonna make them here, just sit right here.
Yeah, you need to go, sorry, you got to go up to the podium.
My name is Michael Murphy. I'm the owner of Royal Paint Window Cleaning LLC, and I'm the vendor in the said suit. If anybody would have the most reason to be frustrated with this process, it would be myself. And I want to make clear that I was at every single session regarding this process. I made myself available for the help if anybody needed anything. And during the course of this, second bid was procured by the auditor's office. At first, the understanding, this was just a procurement, and this goes in training. I think she just left, but she brought up training. There was some discrepancy in what was thought to be needed to follow the procurement processes. So they procured 1 bid. They were trying to do this, secrecy is not the right word, but they were wanting to surprise the county with a beautiful display for Christmas, because they've never done it before. So they procured my bid, I came in and bid it, and then after my bid was read aloud in court due to the informal process of the bid, then the auditor's office, knowing this agenda item was on, then said you have to have a second bid. The auditor's office then procured a second bid that was also a county employee. I think that's worth duly noting. The county employee came in and did this. He also runs a Christmas light business. He did not have a conflict of interest, but he was given a quoted blank copy of my bid, and then his bid was slightly undermined. And when it was presented and the judge started asking questions to the auditor's office and also to the vendor said, I'd like to withdraw my bid because the judge called out what he thought was impropriety. And at that point, when the vendor was talking, this is on recording, I have the recording myself, that vendor also did state that he would leave his bid in to follow procurement processes. Those were his exact words. So with that being said, the county did follow the procurement processes. I have nothing to say about the cattle bid. I don't know nothing about the cattle guards, but I do know in this instance that there were 2 viable bids. When the county attorney heard of this, they went to speak to the auditor, and the county attorney was not made aware that he had said, I would like to leave my bid in the process. So she was not even aware of all the facts, and all the people that, there were so many people that weren't present at all the meetings, they wouldn't have known all those facts.
And how do you know those facts?
I was at every single meeting.
You You were at the meeting with the auditor and the county attorney?
I was made aware that they were told they could not make payment because she did not find cause that there was a second bid. But she was not aware that there was a second bid. And she was not made aware that he said that his bid was still valid. He said, you can use my bid if it follows your procurement processes. I was there for that. The attorney was not, and the auditor was not. So, looking at this, there seems to be just contention here for no apparent reason other than just, officers fighting. And I think the facts are that the procurement process was followed according to what I've read. I'm no attorney, but what I read in the attorneys, as far as the procurement process, 2 viable bids were made. A choice was made between the 2 vendors, and I had won the bid. And then the auditor's office rejected payment knowing there was a second bid. And I'll also leave that at that.
All right, have we taken action on this item?
No, we have not.
Okay. Any other discussion from the Commissioners Court? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Order in the court, please.
Nothing.
All right, motion carries. Item number 4, consider conceptual approval of 2026 Christmas event and interior and exterior Christmas lighting and decoration plans for the county courthouse square. Lindsay, did you want to give sort of you want to go stand up there, or you want to stay back here? We have public comments on this item. Do you want to give sort of I guess, an overview of what you're planning, and then we'll do public comments in case the public has any questions about what's being proposed?
I will say that I did just get this this morning, unfortunately, I tried to get on quicker and I started wanting back in. I did a lot of,
You have to speak up.
I'm talking in it, can you hear me?
Yes. A little bit.
So last year was just a general comment real quick. I had an idea, I presented it, and there was just a lot to it, so I learned a lot since then. I have spoken with the auditor's office, not the most recent, but apologize for my lack of knowledge in this process because the first that happened to come the day before the meeting. I did reach out to 4 different people for bids. One of them ghosted me, one of them said they couldn't do it, and then I had the other ones. And so fast forward to this year, I did send out a scope of work to a couple people who were interested in bidding, so I'll go through it real quick. The event we're tying this to is called County Christmas on the Square. This year's event date will be Monday, November 30th, 2026. That's the Monday after Thanksgiving. The project, I requested that it be finished probably the week before Thanksgiving, just because of Thanksgiving holiday. This year, the courthouse, the initial concept was to make the courthouse, since it's a square in shape, to make it look like a gift. So last year, because of the timing of my idea was in the summer, late summer, and we weren't able to do everything that we had talked about. I did have a committee. I still have a committee that we talked ideas about. So this year, the scope of work that I've sent out is C9 lights that are warm lights around the building of the courthouse. This year, we're going to separate them from 1.5 feet to 2 feet wide because we're requesting the bow we ordered this year. The bow will be a 3D bow that will hang just under the Gillespie County Courthouse flurry, and it will be hung very carefully if approved. So the lights will be 2 feet apart from the courthouse, so it's not as bright with the bow. The lights in the center now are going to be red to make it look like a ribbon wrapped, a box wrapped in red ribbon. The lights will be anchored at the bottom because we had a lot of issues, or some issues with very, very windy season last year. So we're going to make sure that that's bolted down a little bit better. In the library, we're going to actually outline the windows this year. Both the walkways, the courthouse walkway and the library walkway were lit last year. We are going to do that again. Again, every light's going to be C9 and warm for every building. The library, like I said, this year we're going to outline all the windows. So that's the only change we did this year. Annex 1, we're gonna keep the same, the wreaths that were on that building, we're gonna keep those there. The only difference is we're gonna outline that building with lights as well, just to kind of give it some more glow. Let me back up on the library. So the county staff, and then this is also why there was things taken out of bids last time. I didn't know how much money I was gonna be afforded to spend, so there was a lot of county can do this versus vendor doing this, so we had to make some changes. So the wreaths being hung on the library, the county staff will do. The 12-foot tree that goes on the back of the library, again, the county staff will take care of that and all the work to put it up. Annex 1, the county staff will hang the wreaths on, but they won't hang the lights. The gazebo, the bandstand area, the same thing, we're gonna have a 9-foot tree in the center of it. The only difference this year is we're not putting bulbs on it. Several of the bulbs fell or were grabbed, which we thought, I was hoping nobody would do that, but you can't really control that. So there'll be no ornaments on there, just a lit tree. The county staff, and we will put that tree up. We're also gonna wrap the columns again and the lattice with warm lights. Well, we're gonna add lights to the top of the gazebo to illuminate the roof a little bit. Just a few lights up there just to kind of make the roof look good. And then this year, the desire is there's 8 specific trees that we want to be quoted on for wrapping lights. It's gonna be from trunk to about 12 feet high, give or take. Every tree, some of the trees are similar in size and some of them are not, especially the ones over at the library. We're not kind of trying to do every tree, but we did want to add a little bit of light. So we have this tree here and this one back here that we're gonna quote. The 4 main trees in front of the library, and then the one back here of the library, and the one on the other side of the library building. So once I get that quote, we can look at it and discuss, which I haven't got any quotes yet, but this is the scope of work. And if the trees are too much, then we can cut down on some trees or maybe do that a different year. So that is the kind of scope of the work that we're gonna do. As far as the event on November 30th, we are gonna reach out to the drum lines of Harper High School and Fredericksburg High School and have them come and do Drummer Boy. We've got some ideas, and then we wanna ask them, somebody thought it'd be nice to have like a drumming drum competition or something. But either way, we're gonna include the drum lines hopefully this year. My goal every year is to include more singers. This last time we had the Fredericksburg Elementary School, the Ambleside Choir, and we had the Heritage Bell Choir. The music director at Heritage, we talked at volleyball practice the other day, and she was like, what is it? We'd love to be a part of it again, which made me happy because they did a really good job. So I'm gonna try every single year to incorporate more of our, the arts with our schools. I think that's very important, and I think that our kids deserve a chance to shine. And so that's my desire, is to create a space where they can sing and they can even dance. There's a clogger group at the Golden Hub that they were gonna come last year, but it was too late notice. They couldn't get more than 3 people, and you need more than 3 people to do the dance. So they said, let us know if they could come this year. So I'm trying to get support out because I would like this to be a community event. That's the point of this, is to light the square and make it more inviting, make it warmer at Christmas time for our visitors and just families to come. Marketplace is great, but we've never been very lit at Christmas. And so that was just my desire, was to bring a little bit more life at Christmas time to the county. And so I'm learning, I'm trying to do better, but that is my scope of work if you guys have any questions.
Last year, the city had their audio playing, their pre-recorded audio, and so I don't know if we can coordinate with them to maybe not have it play on that date, or at least during the presentation or the program.
That we talked about in our committee meeting, is to ask them to not play it that night.
Any questions or discussion from the court on the conceptual plans for the event?
I don't have any questions. It's apparent that there's a lot of items here that she will come to the court with bids on in the future, so.
I'd like to make a comment that, last year when we did lit up the courthouse, it was received very well and it looked nice. It was a great concept.
All right, let's do our public comments on this item. Okay, we have 5 individuals, 5 people have signed up to speak on this particular item. Ms. Roebuck.
Okay. Merry Christmas. Let's get into the Christmas spirit. And remember, the elf on the shelf is focused on naughty behavior, and he is going to be watching while I talk. Okay. So, the things that matter most should never be at the mercy of things that matter least. And that was Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. He was a German literary genius of the 18th century, and his greatest contribution was Faust Part 1 and Part 2, which is about a man who sells his soul to the devil. Speaking of which, let's discuss the timing and absurdity of Christmas lighting and decorations while faced with insurmountable issues plaguing our county and being avoided. By way of reminder, we have solar dust facilities near our homes and schools that haven't been addressed in months. Now we're looking at potential severe water shortages with dry wells and closing of local water refilling stations. Our volunteer fire departments are aging and cash-strapped with increasing building and population, putting a strain on them. And we still have an unbelievable issue with our budget, which what appears to be fiscal irresponsibility. Finally, the blatant disregard in allowing the no-bid contracts are illegal and allowed to continue. Now, I'm not a Scrooge, as you can see. I like tasteful Christmas lights and decorations which blend in with the German historical influence of our town, not the weird longitudinal strands which look like an old 1970s IBM computer bank. Apologies, sir. Will Rogers once said, if you find yourself in a hole, quit digging. Continuing the same flawed behavior only compounds the problems and makes the resolution more difficult. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Schneider? You have anything you want to add for this item?
I really don't have much to add, although I with what Ms. Brown said as far as the summary of what was planned for this season. If we could get that nailed down and a little more clear so that everybody's getting the same thing and we like it and everybody buys into the scope, which that was a little difficult to follow everything that was being planned. But I think you got to have something that ties down the scope, and then the people that are bidding all are bidding similar or the exact same scope.
Thank you. Ms. Schneider?
I think we've beaten the horse, and again, we stand here not wanting to do what we are having to ask. There's a great deal of respect for you, though sometimes we may not show it. But gentlemen, we are asking as taxpayers, as citizens of this county, to do the right thing by the people. And this is not happening. But Judge Jones, I commend you again for wanting a purchasing agent. I think a lot of these issues, I mean, we are a small county that is growing exponentially. And based on what has happened, and with the cattle guards, with the Christmas decorations, we do need a purchasing agent. And that would solve a lot of these issues. It would solve issues for the treasurer's office, for the auditor's office. I think that's very important. And, you know, our frustration is we all love Christmas, but we're talking about Christmas in May, when, as Ms. Robach said, we have bigger pressing issues. That should be the focus in this county, not Christmas decorations in May. And I do want to add one comment about the treasurer. You know, Judge Jones, I FOIA'd all of these documents from the treasurer's or from the auditor's office. And let me state that the treasurer has never responded to any FOIAs, not one. She does not answer emails, nothing, okay? But the documents I have from the county auditor and from you are over 1,500. And there are requests from Chad Lowell and from the treasurer to put this topic on the agenda. They're asking you to put this on the agenda. We are asking you to put this on the agenda. Please make this a priority. The bond rating, I don't know how many people really understand that our loss of, that happened in, those conversations started in February of 25. Nothing was done. That's our problem. This was allowed to escalate and we lost our bond rating. If we have a bond going forward, and we ask this question, the grant application that Mustard is going to do is not going to cover all of the expenses. And everyone in here who's ever remodeled a house knows full well, when you open up a wall of an old building, there's lots of surprises. That's not going to be covered in that grant application, and it's only 70%. Where's that money gonna come from? What happened to our $37 million surplus? We haven't had audits for 2.5 years. How do we know what money we have? We don't know. But we're talking about Christmas lights. Again, please, put the priority on the people's business. That's what we are asking. Thank you.
Mr. Knightsky?
You still have to leave at 11? I have a probate at 11. We can go to the law library.
Yes, sir. So I do appreciate the proactiveness. That's always a good idea to have everything ahead of schedule. Any way you can do it, but again, I would strongly encourage a return to regular order so that we can have things done in the proper order. And as Sue Robach said, important matters should not be segregated to the least important.
Thank you. Is Ms. Wyrick still here, or did she leave? Did she have to leave?
She left. She
Okay.
left.
Okay, so item number 4 was essentially a conceptual initial presentation of the plans for 2026 Christmas event and the decorations. Obviously, there's still details, a lot of details that will need to be solidified. Typically, we will have some sort of a mock-up that will be presented or prepared. I'm still planning, think you can do that this year? Okay, so we'll have a mock-up, sort of a photo representation or an AI photo representation of what we think the project would look like. That's a long way of saying I don't know if we need any action on this item other than just feedback from the Commissioners Court. Item number 4. I have an 11 o'clock probate. Do y'all want to take a recess for about 10 minutes and I can go do that?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. All right, it is 10:59 a.m. on May the 4th. We are going to recess. Hopefully, we'll be reconvening in approximately 10 minutes. We'll give a 1-minute warning in the hall to let everybody know before we reconvene. I guess I'm just going to you just push that thing. Yeah, I guess so.